Welcome to Higher Ground. Higher Ground is an invitation to be curious, to be open, and to be ourselves. Today, I want to touch on a topic that is quite personal to me, but also very mystical, magical, and somewhat of an enigma to someone who does not experience this. And it is the experience of being a highly sensitive person. And if you've never heard this term, a highly sensitive person is someone who has increased sensitivity to sensory input, emotions, subtle stimuli, and this trait is often referred to as sensory processing sensitivity. And it means that highly sensitive people may experience the world more intensely than others. If you are a highly sensitive person, you might also be an empath. You can be one or the other or both or neither. But when we're talking about an empath, we are talking about somebody who's maybe a subset of a highly sensitive person, specifically those who not only feel their own emotions deeply, but are also able to intuitively sense and absorb the emotions of others, and their paths are particularly attuned to emotional states of those around them. And so they might experience the emotions of others as if they were their own, and this can lead to an even deeper emotional connection with people, and they feel what others are feeling, sometimes without any verbal communication, and that's really beautiful. But so, yeah, HSP, empath, similar but different. So some other traits to a highly sensitive person is deep processing. Highly sensitive people tend to process information and experiences deeply, often reflecting on them for longer periods, and they might also become easily overwhelmed by sensory inputs like bright lights, loud noises, strong smells, and they're often more tuned to the emotions of others like an empath, leading to heightened empathy and compassion. And they may require more alone time to recharge after social interactions or stimulating experiences. And many highly sensitive people also possess a strong sense of intuition, picking up on nuances and details that other people might miss. So yeah, being a highly sensitive person is a trait that comes with both strengths and challenges. And if you are wondering if you might be a highly sensitive person, here are some things that you can notice in yourself. So you might experience emotional reactivity, which is experiencing emotions more intensely than others, feeling joy, sadness, or frustration deeply. You might feel overwhelmed in stimulating environments. You can feel easily overwhelmed in a crowd, loud settings, and may need to withdraw and recharge. You may experience heightened empathy, picking up on the emotions of others and feeling empathetic towards their struggles and joys. Maybe you're sensitive to light, sound, textures, smell, which can be distracting or painful or very pleasant too. And you may have deep processing. You tend to reflect on experiences and thoughts, maybe overanalyzing situations more thoroughly than others. Maybe you have a need for solitude. Highly sensitive people often require alone time to recharge, and maybe you just have a feeling like you're different or misunderstood. And a lot of highly sensitive people feel like outsiders or struggle to relate with others due to their sensitivity. Maybe you have a strong intuition or a strong gut feeling about situations and people. Maybe you feel avoidant to violent or disturbing media. Maybe things that depict violence or suffering you feel deeply, and that can be particularly distressing. Maybe you have a physical sensitivity. You might be sensitive to touch, texture, other bodily sensations. Maybe you have sensitive hearing, sensitive smell, taste, feeling. You could also have a strong aesthetic appreciation. Maybe you have a deep appreciation for art, beauty, nature, feeling moved by aesthetic experiences. So these are just some things that maybe you can notice in yourself and relate to, and these are signs that can vary in intensity from person to person. Not everyone is going to feel all of these, or even most. Maybe there's some that you experience more than others. But recognizing these traits can help understand your sensitivity and relate to your environments with a little bit more ease. If you are a highly sensitive person, it's important to notice your relationships with these different dynamics that I just talked about, because if you are really struggling with some of them and find that it's becoming like impeding to your life, to what you desire, to what you're wanting, then there's steps you can take to nurture yourself in the directions that you're wanting to go. If you're at an intersection of feeling like it's too much, why me, this is a burden, I'm here to let you know that it doesn't have to be that way. It might feel that way, but it doesn't have to be. It's actually a gateway to possibly uncovering some of your greatest strengths, your gifts, your beauty. It just needs a little nurturing. Some things in life we get to choose, and other things choose us. And I find that this is one of those things that chooses people. And I love talking about this with people because, like I said at the beginning, it is personal to me. This is the way that I have walked my entire life. And I've questioned my anxiety. I've questioned my worries. I've questioned my physical pain in my body, having no idea where it was coming from, and just being like bitter for a while because I didn't know why I was the way that I was. And it wasn't until a little music festival in the Cascades in Washington that I met a really beautiful friend, and we were having such an amazing evening one night, deepening our connection, and she's talking to me. I'm telling her about my life, and she's like, have you considered that you might be an empath? And I was like, well, I had never even heard that word, and this was like 7 years ago, and it's amazing the change that can happen over time just because of something that somebody opened us up to knowing about. Learning this about ourselves isn't about turning it off and changing it. At least for me, it wasn't. It's not. It's rather about seeing what I've been given and how can I work with this to my benefit and to the benefit of those around me, rather than it becoming something debilitating, because everything can be a medicine or a poison, a blessing or a curse. And I knew that this was medicine. I've known that, and I wanted to transform it into medicine, and maybe you do too. But before that, I needed to understand. I'm someone who does seek understanding, and I want to talk about what the nervous system is reflecting in somebody who's a highly sensitive person. Highly sensitive people have an overactive sympathetic nervous system, and this is what's responsible for our fight or flight response. So this means that a highly sensitive person can become overstimulated and stressed a lot more easily. Like I said prior, in crowds, external stimuli, noise, emotional tension, and maybe even experiencing like heightened physiological reactions like increased heart rate, sweating, somatic overwhelm, and there's also heightened sensory processing. So HSPs process sensory input more deeply in the brain, like literally. Maybe you're like me, and a lot of this stems from neurodivergence. And if you don't know what neurodivergence is, it's an acknowledgement that people experience variations in brain function, variations in human cognition, and recognizes that people think, learn, and process information differently. And so in these variations, it's been seen that maybe somebody has more or less synapses, or that there's an overconnectivity in certain regions of the brain that somebody who's not neurodivergent may not experience. So I feel like for me, this plays in a direct role in the way that my brain and my nervous system is receiving information. And I'm not saying that everyone who's divergent is a highly sensitive person. And I'm not saying that every highly sensitive person is neurodivergent. I just know that this was a connection that I made in myself, and wanted to share this because it's directly related to my exploration of the nervous system and the challenges and strengths I receive with that. So continuing, this is where I want to dive a little bit more into what's going on in the nervous system of somebody who's highly sensitive. And that starts with recognizing that it is different than someone who has a normal sensory processing system. we do not process information in the same way. So highly sensitive people have a heightened sensitivity to sensory stimuli, emotional input, and this makes their nervous system more reactive. Their autonomic nervous system, that's what regulates involuntary body functions like heart rate, digestion, stress response. And so it's more easily triggered, especially in stimulating environments. And this can cause them to experience overstimulation much more quickly than others. Here is how that's going to play out. The sympathetic nervous system, responsible for the body's fight or flight response. When a highly sensitive person is exposed to this intense stimuli, the system becomes activated faster than in a non-HSP. So this leads to the body releasing more stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol, causing physical symptoms of overstimulation, increased heart rate, rapid breathing, muscle tension, heightened alertness, jumpiness, anxiety. And so since highly sensitive people process sensory information more deeply, their nervous system may interpret non-threatening stimuli like a shopping mall or tense conversation as stress-inducing or overwhelming, leading to this overstimulated state more quickly. So this leads to difficulty returning to the parasympathetic state, to our rest and digest. And this is what helps us calm after fight or flight. It slows down the heart rate, relaxes muscles, helps the body recover. And so in an HSP, after the sympathetic nervous system is activated, it may take longer for the body to return to the parasympathetic state. So I'm talking about going from fight or flight to rest and digest. It's going to take longer for the body to get there. And the deeper processing that a highly sensitive person has, it can prolong those feelings of overstimulation, meaning they might need more time, more care, active attention, active effort to regulate the nervous system. And because this takes more time to rest and digest, there are lingering feelings of stress and fatigue and emotional overwhelm long after the situation has passed. And so another dynamic to consider is emotional overload and cognitive fatigue. So highly sensitive people are more tuned to the emotional energies of those around them, and their emotional sensitivity further activates the nervous system when exposed to strong emotional stimuli like anger, sadness, excitement. And the nervous system becomes overwhelmed, much like a physical stimuli. It's almost like there is not a difference, and the emotional overload can cause the brain to work harder to process feelings, which contributes to cognitive fatigue and a sense of being emotionally drained. And the prolonged activation of fight or flight can make HSPs feel exhausted after social interactions or emotionally charged environments. So now we also want to look at physical manifestations of overstimulation. Someone might experience physical symptoms like headache, digestive issues, muscle tension, and fatigue. The body's heightened response to stress through the sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight, often puts extra pressure on the systems like our gastrointestinal, musculoskeletal. And so the physical manifestation, it's personal for me too, because for many years I really struggled with debilitating physical pain and migraines and digestive issues, joint pain, and I had no idea where it was coming from. And it turns out it was deep overstimulation and shutdown of my nervous system. So yeah, we really want to manage overstimulation as a highly sensitive person, and we can do that with regular breaks in stimulating environments, mindfulness practices, grounding activity, breath work, sensory-friendly environments like soft lighting, soothing sounds, minimal overstimulation. It can take some practice to figure out what is really nourishing and nurturing to our nervous system, because it's going to be different than somebody else's. There are universal things we can try, but be creative. And I also will say body work, body work, body work. I'll always promote body work for this because it's so amazing the way that it can help activate the parasympathetic nervous system, our rest and digest, and reduce tension caused by overstimulation. It gives us like a stepping stone of a little bit of strength and power back, and is beautiful. Those are some perspectives on what's happening in the nervous system for all my highly sensitive people out there, and I hope you found it helpful. But we are not done here. We are here for a purpose. We have amazing gifts to share, and we are all just so beautiful, truly. So maybe there's some rhyme to the reason why highly sensitive people have incarnated on Earth. And so here are some common ideas. We bring a heightened sense of empathy to the world, helping to foster understanding and compassion in others. And our sensitivity encourages deeper emotional connections, and that promotes healing. We also help raise awareness about the importance of emotional and sensory well-being, not just for sensitive people. Everybody has emotional and sensory needs, and our experiences shed light on issues like mental health, environmental sensitivity, and the need for nurturing spaces. We promote authenticity by embracing our sensitivity. We can model authenticity and vulnerability that encourages others to be true to themselves and honor their emotions and their experiences. We also feel a calling to create nurturing, safe spaces, environments, whether in our personal lives or through our professional endeavors like therapy, teaching, other community work. And we often possess deep insights and unique perspectives, and that leads to innovative ideas and artistic expressions, and our creativity can inspire others to contribute to cultural enrichment. We also often have a natural inclination towards mindfulness and being present in the moment, which can inspire others to slow down and appreciate life's subtleties. We're also drawn to spiritual exploration, seeking deeper understanding of existence, consciousness, the interconnectedness of all beings, and we challenge norms, By living authentically, as sensitive individuals, we challenge societal norms that prioritize stoicism or emotional suppression. So we promote more exclusive environments, understanding of emotional diversity. So those are quite a few reasons why highly sensitive people like you and me have potentially incarnated here. So it's deeply personal, and it may evolve over time as you navigate your experiences and contribute to the world around you. When we contribute and are a part of creating what is happening, we learn more about our experience. We understand more of the direction that we're choosing to go, and we find more flow in all of the dynamics of life. It has not always been easy to be a highly sensitive person, but I will tell you, when I decided to put in the effort to regulate my nervous system, to understand like these gifts, these abilities, these inner workings that are just so innately a part of me, I found that life got a lot more simple, and it was filled with a lot more ease. I had to remove things that didn't align, or honestly, it was removed for me. So, but life, universe, God knew that I made a choice that I wanted to align with this. So things were removed, and I'm incredibly grateful that I've chosen to walk in a way that uses this and that allows me to connect with myself more deeply and listen to my needs and my wants and my desires, because that's what a lot of this is shaped around. The more in tune I am with what is truly nurturing for me, the better I feel in my life, in my work, in my relationships. And yeah, that's the simplicity of it. But I really appreciate you listening today. If you found something interesting, I would love to talk and connect more. If you are seeking support or have any questions, please reach out to me. We can connect at higherground.utc on Instagram. And as per usual, seek higher ground.